Oh, hello. I I was getting strange things through my cans, and I don't know what happened, but anyway. Hey, welcome to Three Chords and the Truth. We're back after a 2-week hiatus, and now I'm hearing myself again. I don't know what just happened there because it was just I was getting repetition through the cans, but anyway, here we go again. Welcome to Three Chords and the Truth. I'm Pete Kramer. We haven't been around for a couple of weeks because we've had some people that have not been feeling too well. Right over here in front of me that nobody could see is Master of Controls, Christian Andrew. He was the one that was sick last week, and thankfully he's better now. The week before that, our buddy Jim Thompson had a little bit of a problem. Hopefully he's going to be here next week. As always, I want to give a shout out to my friends over at Special Spaces. They do amazing things for little kids with cancer. They redo bedrooms for them when they're going to be, laid up for a while. And Lynn and Bev, and they do it in Buffalo. I know my buddy Peggy down in Boca Raton does the same thing for the Florida chapter. And, they rely on donations. So if you can help them out, greatly appreciated. My band, Eastwood Project. This is our little area that we record all our stuff with. You can find our music at eastwoodprojectmusic.com. I will be at Alley Oops locally in Lancaster this Saturday from 7 to 10. So if you're in the area, stop in and say hello. We'd appreciate that. And, as always, we try to keep this to, the song or the shows about musicians. And, I keep it usually to local, but I've met so many good musicians through so many Facebook writing pages. And there's a lot of talent out there that, sadly, we don't have radio anymore. We don't have record companies anymore. We don't have anything that, nobody wants to come over and see my MP3 collection. But there's a lot of people out there that are really good. And the guest that we have on tonight is one of those people. The first time I listened to him and one of his songs, I'm like, man, this guy's the real deal. And then I listened to some of the things that he has done collaboratively with his daughter, just like amazing. And with that, I'd like to bring in my friend Karl Sky, all the way from Wisconsin. He's one of the people that I made an exception for because he's not local, but he's that good, in my ever so humble opinion. And he's laughing at me already.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I could be a little bit local,
Well, we're both in the northern portion of the country. How's that?
Yeah. North of normal. How about that?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Just good enough. According to some people. Other people might not agree with that, but that's all right. Now, good to have you here with us, man. Let's get right into it because like I said, from the first time I listened to some of your stuff on Facebook, and there's some stuff that you don't want to listen to. There's other people that, like I said, are like yourself. You're the real deal. I dig not only your writing style, which I'm going to ask you about in a second, but you've got a great sound. How would you define, do you define yourself in a particular genre?
Oh, you hit me with the worst question of the
I didn't
night.
mean to.
But you know what? I hate, that's what stinks because, nowadays it's all about, there's 100 different genres of everything, it used to be, AM radio back in the 70s, you'd tune in, and we all grew up that way. So we'd hear a multitude, a variety of songs in 1 hour. So there was rock and roll, then there was a little slightly country tune, then there was stuff that was instrumental. It's like, where are those songs? Those don't even exist anymore. Instrumental, right. Mainstream tunes. So genre for me, I guess most of the time, because I tend to write all over the place, it just depends on the mood I'm in. I'd probably have to just put myself in the category of that but it varies, you know. Sometimes I do a little bit more lean towards the rock and roll stuff, and sometimes it's more country sounding. Um, Boy, I don't know. It just depends on the day and what mood I'm in.
And
You
as far
know,
as I'm concerned, that's a perfect answer because, again, I've listened to a lot of your things, and I know when you and I talked one time before, it was folk and country,
yep,
and I get that, but I mean, the ability for a songwriter to be in multiple genres, in my opinion, is really cool because you don't put yourself into one corner.
yep,
You're all over the
yeah,
place.
right. Yeah, you just yeah. Otherwise, you know, if you're only sticking to one, like let's say it would be rap, which you know I'm not rap. Okay, that's the one genre I don't bleed into. I'm sorry, but uh, like you know, if you were just into that one genre, I mean, like, yeah, how do you? Everything is going to get redundant after a while because you can only do so much of that same thing.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, I like experimenting, and this is the thing. The reason why I write all over the place is because I listen to a lot of different artists over the years.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm picking up artists that have been around for a long time, but I just never really focus on them. So then I'll tune into a few of their songs, and then I like those, and then all of a sudden it leads me down the rabbit hole of I'm going to listen to this whole album, and then that's the great part of music. Period. You just get to discover all these different songs, and that's what's sad too now because now it's albums aren't really the thing anymore.
Yeah.
It's just singles and maybe an EP if you're lucky. But no, I like listening to a lot of different artists and kind of studying the style of how they write. And sometimes it just rubs off on me. And like a lot of times I come up with something and I realize exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, oh gosh, this is a Bob Dylan song. It's obvious.
Right.
Or this is Gordon Lightfoot, or this is America, or this is more Eagles, So that's pretty much my writing method,
Do you find yourself where you write the lyrics first or the music first?
I would say like 80% of the time I come up with music in my head. It just appears poof, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
out of the ether. Here we go. We got a tune. Let's grab that tune. And then I got to quick find something to record it with because I won't remember it.
But that's one thing I like about your music is that I dig the lyrics because I'm a sucker for good lyrics and you're very good at that. And it's not just the lyrics, it's the delivery as well. And I'm going to probably shoot myself in the foot for saying this, but going back to what I said before about, a melody versus, I'm holding a piece of paper like this so that it can be shown that I've got a half a piece of paper like the people on TV do, make me look smart, but it's not working so well.
That's all right.
If you take Rockin' in the Free World by Neil Young, right? Yeah. Neil Young is, he's been around forever. But if you look at the lyrics to that song, I get what he's trying to say in it, but they're kind of all over the place. But if it wasn't for that, real hard rock and E minor D C, right? That song wouldn't be, not with those lyrics anyway. So that's why I asked that, because so many people I've listened to, Billy Joel in particular, he's one of the people that I've looked up to forever. He's like, I write all of my songs except for one. I write all of the melodies first. I'm the opposite. I write all the lyrics first to give me an idea. What do I want to say with this? And then how do I want to put the music behind it to make the lyrics
right? That'll amplify those lyrics the right way.
And that's just me.
I get it. Well, no one, actually, in the last few years, I have started that method. I on purpose, I'll instead of the music coming into my head, I'll have a line, as it always starts with just like one line, and that may be the chorus line, or it may just be a piece of a verse or whatever. But
Yeah.
then so I've been doing that as well. I'll just write the lyrics to the entire song without any music, and then just mull it over for a while, look at the
Yeah.
lyric, and then just kind of figure out, okay, I think this is going to be fast.
All
just
right.
because of the way the lyrics are, or this is going to be slow by just the tone of the words, and then just come up with music. So I've been trying to do that just so don't get stuck in a rut, always, because sometimes I feel like I used to just, like, way back when I was a teenager, when I started, I had nobody to mentor me at all. I was just, and we didn't have the internet. We had nothing. I mean, you had books, and it's like, I'm not gonna read a book. I'll just listen to my favorite artists and rock out, man. I'll just figure this out. So, you know, so it's just that whole, just getting into the, either you take the melody, develop the lyrics, or vice versa, and do it that way. But I really used to be just stuck on, always getting the music first, and then and it was almost like I try to get the song over with by coming up with lyrics. And that's where I learned to, like, okay, you really got to focus more on the lyrics, because my first, like all of our first attempts at writing anything, they suck.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I have some good melodies from back then. So recently I've been taking some of the melodies and the chord structures of songs that I always liked. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to trash the lyrics and start all over with new lyrics, because I'm able to write better than I used to. And because I don't want to waste this melody. You know what I mean? You just don't want to waste it, because it's like it could be used. So.
No, have you seen the history of the Eagles? There's a section in there where
the documentary, the one that came out a few years ago.
Yeah. And Glenn Fry is riding around with Bob Seger, and he's like, what do I have to do? And he's like, you got to write songs. And Glenn Fry says, well, what if they suck? And Bob Seger said, they're going to, until you hone your craft a little bit. And I mean, I think Glenn Fry proved himself pretty good at writing songs.
Oh, definitely. Yep. And I think, he roomed with Jackson Browne, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So I remember hearing the whole story about all that. Like, they'd just be going over songs over and over and over all day long, till you just want to just like bang your head against the wall.
Exactly.
Browne's at the piano again, playing the same line.
Yep. Until you get it right.
Yeah. And sometimes you can logically work things out, and sometimes you just gotta just let it sit for a while, and just forget about it for a while, and then come back to it. And then it'll all just flow right in. I like it when it just flows in. That's just like my happy spot. But that doesn't always happen. I mean, some songs I can write in, I mean, not very often, but sometimes I've written stuff in less than a half an hour.
Yeah.
But
and sometimes it takes.
Go back and tweak them. You still go back and look at the lyrics, and I can change that line or whatnot. But
I've had some that have taken 4 or 5 years, because I just wasn't.
Oh yeah.
At that spot where I wanted it to be, put it aside, just like you just said, and when you get the motivation, when you get the feeling, go back to it, and then you can make something where it's really good.
Yep.
But,
or I'll shelve it for a while, and then I always thought to myself, oh yeah, well, maybe in 2 years I'll have a producer that will help me make this what it should be, because I can hear it in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the weird thing. I don't know if I think a lot of other musicians are like this, but like when I'm hearing the song, even like for the first time, it's done.
Yep.
In my head, like the whole thing is done. There's percussion, there's the bass line, there's the ambiance of the song. It's all there. And sometimes I have to change it, but it's like that's what my goal is now, is to always be able to try to like get to that vision, or that audible vision, I guess you call it.
No, I get it.
you know, and capture that in reality, you know, and that's just been a long. I mean, I've done everything myself. I mean, I've farmed out a few songs here and there and just had them demoed,
Hmm.
you know, by some Nashville people, and I've worked with other Nashville people. You know, worked with a guy down there named is Jerry Peters. He's a really good keyboardist, um, and he has you know, fiddlers and steel guitar players at hand, and I had him add some instrumentation on a couple songs once. And so, yeah, I like to have a network of people to work with. But then on the other side, I also am like, I'm going to be honest, I'm like super impatient. I mean, like, when I'm on a song, it's like, I want this done in 2 weeks because I got 10 more.
Yeah. Right.
But so, and I know, and I'm one of those guys that always goes back and I over scrutinize everything I've ever done. You know, I'm
Do
always
you?
like listening to my previous songs, and then it's mostly like the mix or something. I'm like really get hung up. Oh, I can hear something, and it's like it's driving me nuts. And but the fact of the matter is, most people don't even hear half this stuff.
Oh, I know.
These little nuances. I mean, musicians do, but like the general public, a lot of times what you're trying to like change in a mix sometimes isn't really worth the time
Yeah.
unless it's terrible. I mean, let's just, you know, it's just got to be really good. But like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you
this
could. It's never ending. It could be like a never ending song and dance, just mixing stuff.
But the sad thing too, though, in my opinion, is that in this day and age, you get somebody as talented as yourself, just trying to get your songs heard by somebody other than
That
the
is
people that you're
hard,
playing with.
and the market is so the internet is a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yep.
Because now, you know, what is the number? I don't know what it is. It's probably up another 10,000 a day. You know, like there's like 40,000 songs a day that get uploaded or
Yeah.
whatever the number is. It's just there's so much music that it's now not worth anything.
Yep.
If you get what I mean, it's like people will, you know, you used to save money to go buy an album,
Right.
you know, save money, and it was like you went into that store, it's like I'm spending my $10 or whatever they were, $7 to $10 on an album, and you know, with your part-time job money, and it's like you play the crap out of that thing because you had a lot invested in it. It's
Yep.
like, well, now everything's streamed there, you have no investment in anything, and it's kind of sad. So yes, you can get exposure, but
To
the,
who? To who?
there's a lot of sharks out there too.
Right.
Oh man, it's just like, yeah, everybody like promising you the moon. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff come across my emails, you know, about, oh, we could do this for you, and yeah, and it's all just, you know, blowing smoke.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, and I would be remiss if I did not bring this up because I have heard several of your songs that you have done with your daughter.
Oh yes, Allison. Yep.
And I got to tell you, there's just something
She's got a phenomenal voice.
when you put you two together, the harmonies, the way that they go, and you know, it just, man, I got
Yeah.
four daughters, and my daughters don't sing. I wish that I
Um.
had the, you know, that luxury to do what you do with your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we really gotta. I mean, there was a small period of time we really focused on getting a lot of stuff recorded. We were both involved with a couple of outfits that were pitching our music and stuff. You know, it was mainly, you know, Nashville um, network networking type stuff. But so yeah, you know, and that was right before COVID, and then when, you know, then we started playing live together, and then COVID came, and then boom, well, we just started, and we no sooner started and it ended, and it's like, well, we can't do that,
Yeah.
and as we just, you know, just kind of took a break for a little bit, and then I kept writing and stuff, and so did she. But you know, she's got, you know, a lot of her own songs too that are, they're just fantastic as well. But we should really be doing some more stuff together because Even I go back and I listen to stuff, and it's like kind of sends chills up my arm.
Right?
Like, how did that sound that good? I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, and it does. Trust me, from an outsider's perspective, it does sound that good, and I wouldn't have brought it up
Well,
if I didn't
I
think so. And
appreciate that.
that's all right. I'm just going to say this: there's some people that put things online that they're just not good, and I think to myself, I listen to something, I'm like, do you have any way to even listen to yourself? And you're putting this out for the whole world to see now with the world of the internet and what have you. And
it's kind of hard to pull it off once it's up.
yeah, that's my point.
It's really difficult to remove something that you don't want there.
Yep, but they think they're good and they're not. And I'm here to testify to Karl Sky today.
Oh.
You and your daughter are amazing together. You're very good. That's why, like I said, that the first time I listened to you, it was just really good. But when you put your daughter in there, wow, it just blew me away.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she's something else. Yeah, awesome. But
how about? Oh, go ahead. Say whatever you want.
Do a song?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, instead of me talking about how good you are, let's hear one of your songs, man.
All right. Well, I did this one. I wrote this, I think it was 2020, 2021. I actually started listening to Tom Petty a little bit more at that time. I really wasn't into Tom Petty, way back when he was. I didn't navigate into his area of into that interest in his music till probably just like right before he died, unfortunately. So it was like I never got to see him play live. But anyway, this song, as I was writing it, when I'm telling you how I kind of like write things kind of similar to what I'm hearing at the moment, and then I kind of create similar things. So this one's similar to like Tom Petty, I guess. I mean, or it could be engineered to be that way. Someone worked really hard at it.
Well, before you go too far, I want to know what kind of guitar you're playing.
I am playing a Taylor. It's a 200 series.
Okay.
Acoustic. Electrified.
I always wonder what people's preferences are, because I went to a buddy of mine's gig a couple months ago, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of his gig, he says, "Okay, Pete Kramer's going to get up and play something for you." I'm like, "I am." He hands me his guitar. It's an Ovation, and I played a song, and he's like, "No, keep going." And I said, "I can't. This damn thing's falling off my lap because of the rounded back on it."
Slides right off.
Right.
You definitely need a strap for that one.
No doubt. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's
problem.
about you. Play your song. I want to hear it.
That's quite all right. I'm tired of trying to make you happy. I'm tired of trying to toe the line. It's getting old, getting sucker punched while others smile and pay no mind. You're weary wishing life be easy. You're weary praying I'd hear you out. If yesterday is all we've got, let's navigate a brand new route. We're just two restless wandering fools, searching for the rainbows in our minds. We got a one-track mind with a tune, trying to sing it one day at a time. I'm tired of praying for some sunshine. You're shivering, shaking in the rain. The Snow can weigh on me so heavy, probably sad as I complain. Let's disconnect from all this chatter, disengage from what we're told. We'll follow roads to greener pastures before our souls have grown too old. We're just two restless wandering fools, searching for the rainbows in our minds. We've got a one-track mind with a tune, trying to sing it one day at a time. We're just two restless wandering fools, searching for the rainbows in our minds. We got a one-track mind with a tune, trying to sing it one day at a time.
And that's why I say you're the real deal, man. I mean, that was such a listen to those words. That was so cool. The chord progression, the strum pattern. I mean, that little shuffle that you do at the top of holy crap, that was really good, man. I really love that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I look, man, I'm not gushing. I'm just saying because I appreciate good music, and I know when I hear bad music, and that is really good music right there. And
well, and I love good music too. And, I figure, the more you listen to as a writer, the more you listen to, the better you're going to get. Like if you're only listening to two different artists, like in 5 years, even, it's like, well, you're kind of narrowing yourself, you need to like branch out a little bit and, just study other artists. And I tell you, a big game changer for me actually was listening to Bob Dylan. I used to hate Bob Dylan growing up.
Me too.
I hated him. My dad, well, I think my parents hated him, so I hated him. It's just by default. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're programmed, and I didn't really get into Bob Dylan stuff for maybe like 7-8 years ago. And I started listening to him. I started listening to Joni Mitchell a lot. Yeah. And I really, wow, what a, you want to talk about a great songwriter. Joni Mitchell is awesome. Yep. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Gordon Lightfoot, all those greats, and you can take any of those songs, and you can upgrade them, produce them to a little bit more modern sounds, that's sure. Just the production part of it. And that's the part that kind of bums me out the most, is because I just like really writing, and I love coming up with these songs. And sometimes I think I just like to record, maybe 2 guitars and a vocal, and that's my recording of that song. You're done. That's it.
Right.
Not, because you can go all out crazy with any tune. It's like, oh, let's add some keyboards now. Now let's add this, and it's like, I have so many songs. I just want to get them all recorded, and then whether if it's just me, a phone recording, hey, if it's good enough, I'll put that out.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. Probably not, but
what? But no, the funny thing that you just said about Dylan is, I always felt the same way. I just, first of all, the guy's got a quirky voice, right? And but I look up to all the people that I've looked up to over the years, that their influence was Dylan. And I'm going through, my set list for when I'm playing the cover things, when I'm playing out. I'm like, holy crap, I got 5 Bob Dylan songs in here, and I didn't even mean to do it. But they were done by other people,
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple more things I want to ask you, because we're running,
sure.
close to the end. But other influences that you've had that, because in my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I really would like your opinion on this. I think that, for those of us that are musicians, I think it's something that we're born with. That it's just like inbred with us. And as we grow up, we just got to figure out, how do we get this out? Is it, through a keyboard? Is it through a
is it through an
guitar?
instrument, or is it a paintbrush, or whatever, words, just writing,
Right, because there's a lot of people that I'm sure you know as well that are really good musicians, but they don't write. And for
Right,
you,
right.
for me,
Oh
we
yeah,
write.
excellent. And I
I just think that is something that happens. Everybody, in my opinion, loves music, but I think there's some
mhm.
of us that just, we got that, whatever it is, that little crazy thing inside
The
of us,
crazy gene. I got crazy genes.
right?
Yeah,
But
it's like, yeah, I'll be listening to a song, and I'll start talking about my wife. It's just like, just kind of shakes her head, like, oh, okay, whatever.
See, you
And I'm
get
just
it.
like, oh, did you see what he did with these two lines? It's like, this is brilliant. And it's like, you know, you need the melody and you need the lyric, and together they marry together, and it just makes you feel a certain way. And that's
Yeah.
like, you get back to Dylan with his voice, and every artist has their own voice too. That's what was so great. That's the one thing I'm kind of sad about now, because I feel like, because of the technology, are all sounding the same now. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, that's
literally,
horrible.
their voice, because everybody's auto-tuned, and
Yep.
everybody can sound identical. And it's like, I've listened to a lot of female singers and male singers that have come out in the last 10 years, and so many of them, I can't tell the difference between them. And I'm not going to blame it on my old age. it's like, I really think it's because they all have that auto-tune sound, and I get it, from the record company's point of view. They just want whatever sold last week,
Well, yeah, exactly. But old age is a privilege, man. And
yeah,
as far as we're
but
concerned, people like yours and my age,
yeah,
we lived through some of the best times in music that
yeah,
younger kids today, they won't understand it. But
no.
in fact, I think you saw that thing that I put up on Facebook or that I shared, I shouldn't say, but it was a David Bowie thing, who said, he
Yeah,
got from John Lennon, is like, the best way to write a song. And Lennon's advice was, figure out what you want to say, make it rhyme, and put a good backbeat to it. I was like,
mhm,
how perfect is that?
yeah. Bare
Just,
bone, it's almost like, yeah, it's just raw. I mean, this is what I'm going to say,
yeah.
and I'm not going to like wax eloquent on every single line, but yeah, it's makes
So,
total sense.
some of your influences.
Uh, I'll
There's
start off. I'll start off from
hundreds.
a young age. I'll start off from a young lad all the way up. Okay, and I'm going to be honest. Every one of these was probably some influence on how I write songs or how I sing, why I
Yeah.
sing. The Partridge Family,
I can agree. I get that.
David Cassidy, the Beach Boys, Rick Springfield,
Yep.
John Mellencamp,
Yep.
the Beatles, obviously, a little bit more towards the Lennon-ish side.
Yep.
Not
Yep.
Lennon-ish, but Lennon-ish. Gordon Lightfoot, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, the Eagles. I mean, just you name it. I've listened to so much, and every single one of them has been a huge, influence on me. So, but I'd say the Beach Boys really kind of taught me how to harmonize. I mean, that was a main thing growing up. My brother and I would like sit and play those records, and we'd like pick those parts out.
Right.
And I just sit and play them over and over and over. I just loved harmonies growing up. I just loved listening to that. That really kind of branded me a little bit, as far as like how I think of music, or when I'm hearing it in my head,
Yeah.
But yeah, they all play a part in many of the songs. I could probably go through every single song, and I'll tell you, that's John Denver. That I almost forgot John Denver, for crying out loud. John Denver was a huge thing for me. In my early 20s and 30s. I mean, I listened to a lot of John Denver, and I really just loved the simplicity of his songs, but yet they were brilliant.
You're right. They were typically 3 or 4 chords. you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, they were very simple, but yeah, it was just the melody, the way that
This
they went.
his voice was just perfect.
Oh
You know,
yeah, that was
for those songs, his
yeah.
voice was perfect.
Now
So,
I have to agree. Well, again, we're getting kind of close on time, but where do people find your music? Website, Facebook?
yep. Website is www.karlskysongs, and that's Karl with a K.
Yep.
karlskysongs.com. That's my website. And then most of my music can be purchased at karlsky.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If you punch in Karl Sky, there aren't a lot of people like faking to be me.
Right.
But I guess that's a good thing. I don't have any bots imitating me yet, so.
No. I'll tell you what, man. This has been a really cool conversation. I hope you enjoyed it.
I appreciate you having me on. I really enjoyed it.
You got a show coming up that you want to plug?
No. Well, right now the closest show I have is Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Up here in the Northwoods at Boulder Junction, Aqualand. That's the first one I have scheduled for now. It's kind of slow up here right now because we're in what they call mud season, so nobody's coming up to visit. So yeah, I'm starting to put together some summer shows up here. So we'll get it all filled out, and those can all be found on my website.
Well, I'll tell you what, there was a lot more things that I wanted to ask you, but all of a sudden this,
That's all right.
Our half hour has gone into 37
really
minutes.
It felt like 5 minutes.
It's what everybody says, man. They just, and it's always a good time. But, anyway, thank you, Karl Sky. Thanks so much. And I'm not staring away from the camera. I'm actually looking at a monitor so I can look like I'm talking to Karl. So I hope y'all had a good time. Come back, Karl, come back and see us again, man, because we're going to keep on doing this, and you're more than welcome. Great to meet you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right. Have a good night. 3 Chords and the Truth. We are out.